Hey, this is Galvino here, and I'm going to be making an Adventure Time tier list video. Now, there's a lot of characters here on this list, and I'm not going to be putting like all of them on the tier list. I'm just going to be putting the ones that I'm interested in and that I know about. I don't know about every single little character here. I'm just going to put the main characters and then the top tiers. Okay, first things first, we're going to be starting with Slime Princess and PB. Now, they're both kind of relative to each other. They're princesses with their powers. PB has her Jelly Bean, and Slime Princess has her slime, I guess. She shoots out. PB's like around, what, maybe building level or something. She took down a tower for beam one time. And I think she tanked an attack from Larvo, that giant monster from the Obsidian, like little short thing with Marceline. Now, I'm not saying she's Larval level, but she's, you know, something. You know, if I had to put a number and quantify what level PB and I think Slime Princess would like scale to, it would be like building level, definitely. Okay, so that's pretty much everything for tier C. Next, we're going to be moving on with the Ice King. Now, the Ice King is always capturing PB and Slime Princess. That's pretty much how the show starts. No princess can pretty much do anything against him, and maybe you can argue you can do something against him later on in the show, but I'm not really confident they can, or at least most of them can anyway. We'll be getting to the other ones. Speaking of princesses, the next one is going to be FP. Her and Ice King are pretty much the same. I think they stated to be equal. Like, they had a fight one time, and I don't really remember any of them having the advantage over the other. So Flame Princess would definitely be above Princess Bubblegum and Slime Princess, at least in base. If I had to quantify, put a number on their power level of where Flame Princess and Ice King would be, it would be probably around town level. They would downscale from their from Flame Princess and the other princesses' elemental forms. Now, I'll be getting to them, but in terms of just putting in like a tier for them, it would be like around town level. Next up is going to be Finn the Human. Now, maybe some people might be mad about this, but Finn the Human, he beats up Ice King almost all the time. That's what PB has Finn for. I mean, she likes him and whatnot, but it's just that he's like pretty blatantly above the Ice King. Now, the Ice King is pretty stupid. You can argue he does not use his powers correctly, but in terms of where I would say, because this tier list is going to be a mix of pure power and like likelihood of winning. So if somebody has like a bunch of hacks, but then they're really weak physically, they're still going to make it very high on the list. So point is, Finn would beat up Ice King most of the time, as we've seen, and he would, by scaling, probably beat up Flame Princess. Now, Flame Princess is a little weird because she has fire and it's a little bit more dangerous to Finn, I suppose, but he probably would figure something out if he could. So I'll say for now, Finn above Flame Princess and the Ice King. Okay, so next up is going to be Jake the dog. Now, Jake is always getting, like, he'll probably get beat up by the same people Finn would get beat up by. They're kind of relative to each other. They're kind of equal and whatnot. And I'm saying that for Jake at his normal size, that he's equal to Finn. Now, if Jake wanted to enlarge himself, now that's a completely different story. I think he would be stronger, a little bit higher, but would it be tier A? I don't think so, no. So next up is going to be Susan Strong. Now, this is pretty sure Susan in base, like her normal, like how she usually looks, is stronger than Finn and Jake. But the way I'm making this tier list is like using people at their full potential, actually. Maybe put it below Jake. So the reason I say this is because at full power, I think the Gumball Guardian like shot like a beam at Susan Strong, and she absorbed it, kind of like some kind of like karma from Boruto or Ranagon from Naruto, or you know, something weird like that, and she basically became stronger. And okay, so the reason I put Susan below Jake is because after she absorbs like a beam from a Gumball Guardian, she becomes this super strong buff woman, and she basically just stomps everybody. But the thing is, I think when they get to the beach, Jake like enlarges himself, and pretty much becomes like bloodlusted or whatever, and he was about to literally stomp her even at her full power. So like in normal size, Jake would be like here. If he went full power, enlarges himself, he would be like here. Okay, so there's that. Next up is going to be the Scorcher. He was a hitman that was hired by the Ice King. Now, Ice King could freeze him, but he got out using his fire, and I don't really know if freezing somebody really counts as like you're more powerful than them or whatnot. I don't really know. So if I had to say why he'll be here is, well, Finn, Jake, and Ice King all ran away from this dude and didn't even attempt to fight him. They thought it was like impossible to beat him. They had to come up with a plan to trick the dude into going away so they wouldn't die. So he would definitely be above everybody else. I don't know what if Jake just enlarged himself. Like, I'm sure Jake would have more strength, but the thing is, I don't know what strength is gonna do when you're getting roasted alive and you're just making yourself a bigger target. So Scorcher, I say, would beat up everybody here. Okay, so this is where things are gonna get very spicy right off the bat. So I'll say Billy would be only tier A. Now, this is gonna be really controversial. I know people are gonna be mad, but here's the thing. I don't think Billy's all that powerful. I think he's a bit overrated. Now, he has a lot of lore about how he's the greatest hero and he was great. He fought an ocean, blah, blah, blah. Okay. The main reason why people think he's so strong is because he beat up the Lich. Here's the thing. We don't know if Billy ever fought the Lich at his full potential power. Because I'll get to the details about the Lich in a minute. Main thing I want to say is that PB said that Finn needed the Gauntlet of the Hero in order to even harm the Lich. Okay. That makes it seem like Billy would not be able to harm the Lich if he himself also didn't have the Gauntlet. So this idea that Billy is some planet buster, planet level, moon level, because he beat up the Lich, I don't think that's true. I just think he would be above the people in B. Mainly due to the lore and whatnot. So that's where I'm going to put him for now. Okay, so next up is going to be Fern. Now, he's also somebody that people regard as really powerful and top tier and whatnot. Here's the thing. I don't think he's that powerful. I think he's kind of overrated as well. Now, Fern is very powerful, right? Way more powerful than these guys. However, the main reason people think he's some planet buster as well is because they think he scales the Orgalorg. Orgalorg is somebody who is definitely a planet buster, just because Fern like cut him up. Here's the thing, we don't know if that like version of Orgalorg that was in space with Finn was at his full power. He didn't look anything like he was at his prime. You know how Orgalorg looks like. And Finn, I think it was Finn was like, oh, I'm gonna stop you, and then Orgalorg, instead of saying like you can't stop me at all, he was like not if I get to that comment. So it's like Finn could have stopped him. Orgalorg was not thinking Finn was this fodder being that couldn't do absolutely anything to him, and he knew nothing about the grass sword, right? He wasn't like afraid of Finn because he knew he had this OP weapon with him. Not at all, as far as I know. So it's like I don't see why Fern would be this planet buster. Meanwhile, he's always like wrestling and tussling with Finn, who we know is definitely not a planet buster himself. Not saying that Finn is Fern's level, but it's not this astronomical like gap between them. That's like between town level and planet. I think that's ridiculous. I think he's more of the Billy level, and that's like around the same level as the people I'm going to put above him in tier A. Okay, so next up is going to be, I'll say, the Gumball Guardian. I say Fern can take him down. Gumball Guardian, I think, can take down Fern. I don't see that. You can say Fern is like above the Guardian. You can say that, and we'll put him there for now. I think they're relative though. I think they could both take each other out and whatnot. I just don't think it would be like, Because first off, Gumball Guardian, he would have destroyed Susan, right? Susan did not tank a beam from the Guardian. She absorbed it. Like, that's like her special power, right? Okay, so if she didn't absorb it, she would have been dead. Vaporized, most likely, okay? So, this idea that he can't just vaporize Fern if Fern takes a direct hit, I think that's ridiculous too. Okay, that being said, I think Fern can also take down the Gumball Guardian. So I'm going to say the relative for now and the tier A. Okay, so I'll say this thing, this tower cake thing that PB's uncle made, he's like, this contraption is like equal to the Gumball Guardian. So maybe you could say like this, maybe Fern's above this, and or maybe it's below, whatever, say whatever you want. They're all relative, I think. Can Billy take them down? He probably can. So for now, they're all relative. You can switch them around, whatever. But they're all tier A, and they would all be tier B. At least most likely they're not, anyway. Next up is going to be these two, like, monster things. Hold on, let me just get them. Where are they? There you go. Okay. So these two things, I think you can switch them around. I don't really know if it... This thing is like a possessed Gumball Guardian, and this thing is just a bunch of banana guards, and maybe you could argue it's like this, but if they fought each other, I don't know. It's hard to say. You can switch them around, but my opinion, I'll say it's like this. Now these two things stomped. I mean, it wasn't a stomp. They didn't stomp the Guardian, but it was like they just kind of like snapped their necks and like broke them apart. It was blatantly above them. And Fern tried cutting this thing here. And, I mean, it damaged him, but then this thing, like, smacked the fuck out of him. And Fern didn't do anything. He pretty much got one-shotted into oblivion. Now, Fern was weakened, I suppose. You can argue that, right? But it's hard to say. Now, if you want to say something like, where's this? This version of Fern is like this. Maybe, but it's hard to say. We don't know, because we didn't get to see this thing really fight. At least as far as I remember. And these things are really, really, like, powerful. So, I don't know. Fern never really said, though, that he was weakened. Like, all that was established was that he was going to die soon. That doesn't really mean... Now, I mean, if you want to be rational, you can be like, yeah, you know, he was getting weakened, you know. It wouldn't really make much sense if he was at full power. And you can say that, sure. I just don't... It's really hard to say if he would really be above these things or not. Because these things are really powerful. So, I don't know. I honestly wouldn't know where exactly how to quantify this or not. I don't know what to say. For now, I'm going to leave this guy off. I swear, because I don't know where he goes. But I don't want to add him. Right now, I'll just put it like this, right? Fern got one-shotted by this thing. So, for now, I'm just going to say this. Okay, so next up is going to be Marceline. Now, I'm not saying base Marceline is above these people. But... when she's at full power with the power that she got from the King of the Vampires, you know, that big gaseous monster form, she utterly stomped this thing, and she most likely would stomp this thing as well. I don't see why, because these guys are pretty much equal. I just say this guy's a little bit above just because he's a Gumball Guardian. This thing's just a bunch of bananas. So either way, I think at full power, Marceline stomps these things. She utterly destroyed them. Or she destroyed this one, and she would most likely destroy this thing. Next up would be the Vampire King. Honestly, I don't know. Like, again, this is at full power. I don't know which one would be tougher. I don't know. For now, I'll just say this. If you want to switch them around, you don't think they're different or whatever, do whatever you want. I'll just say this for now. Next up is going to be Larvo from the Obsidian short. And here's the thing about Larvo and why I think he might be above these monsters of Fern and whatnot. Marceline PB tried everything they could to try and like stop Larvo and, you know, put him back in the little cave and keep him captured and whatnot. And they never even, like, he made like little like saliva little minions for him, and they were kind of like ragdolling on Marceline. Now this was Marceline in base, and they were jumping her, to be fair, but she needed the guitar to even do anything. So it's like, I don't know where Because here's the thing. Here's my main point I'm going to get to now. Marceline at full power. That gaseous form that she used against this thing. She never even attempted that against Larva. Why wouldn't she do that? I don't think she lost her power, right? I'm pretty sure she could pull that out whenever. Maybe she has to be under emotional distress or whatever. I think she, I mean, and she pretty much was. I don't know. Her and PB were having problems at that point in time. So I don't know. It's really hard to say. If you want to say at full power, she would stomp Larva. Maybe. It's just really weird that she never used it. So, reason I say Larva would be above that because she probably thought of the idea to do that, but she knows that it wouldn't work or whatever. She thinks it wouldn't work, so maybe he would be above that. That's basically what I'm trying to say. So, you can either go with that, or you could say Larva's like here or something like that, right? Because just because we didn't see Marceline use her monster form against this thing, you know what I mean? Like, so it's hard to say. I don't know. I'll say Larva is above everything else here because he was a pretty OP. Okay, so next up, I want to go with the princesses, but in their elemental forms. I think they're around the same tier as this. Now, here's the thing about them. There's a calc that has them at small city level because they each have their own like little quarter of like ooh or whatever, and then Finn and the rest of the guys are just downscale from that. Now it's hard to say because I've thought about this. I don't know exactly if they're above these guys, but we didn't see them use their full elemental power at full potential against these guys, and maybe they would win. I say most likely they would win. I mean, I didn't see these guys take over like a whole quarter of ooh instantly like these guys, so I don't know. It's really hard to say. If you want to say like these big monsters are like above the elemental queens, you can go ahead and say that. You can make an argument, sure, whatever, but you know, like it's not like, okay, think about it like this. Full power, for instance, Bubblegum. She obviously stomps Gumball Guardian, right? I don't see why that would be controversial. These monsters, they beat up on the Guardian, but would they utterly one-shot destroy them? Like, not really. They wrestled and tussled for a while. It wasn't just great stomp for the monsters, and I think the elemental princesses, who are relative or equal to each other, would just scale above that, above these guys. I mean, you want to say Marceline was? I mean, if you want to say Marceline could beat up on them, you can if you want. I suppose it depends how you scale them. I would say right for now, full power, just because of how powerful these girls were. I'll say they're like above Larvo and Marceline for now. If you want to say Marceline, Larvo is like relative, or they're like above, you can make an argument. But for now, I'll say princesses are top of tier A. Okay, on to tier S. Next, we're gonna move on to Finn the Human from the alternate universe, where he has the Ice King crown. Now, here's the thing. The reason I say he's way above the Ice King is because he pretty much froze over the entire Earth in ice. That's way above whatever the hell St. Pim could do. Now, here's the thing about the Ice King. If you want to say, without like character stupidity and whatnot, and let's say we say Ice King has the same imagination as this Finn, you could say Ice King is like this at full power, right? The only reason I say he's like this is because he's really stupid and he's always getting beat up by like Finn and the rest of the other people. So for now, Finn with the Ice King crown is pretty OP, and Finn and Jake would stand no chance. These guys in A tier would get frozen instantly, and there would be nothing they could do about it. Next up, I would say the Citadel Guardians. Now, here's the thing about them. We don't really see them do a whole lot. We just know it's their job to capture planet busters and people of that sort. So it's like, it'll be really weird to say that they themselves are also like not that level. Oh, and the reason I say Fern is not not Fern. This Finn isn't just like top tier A or something like that. It's because I think he has like a calc or something that puts him at like around moon level. Like it takes like a moon level amount of energy to freeze over the earth in the way that he did. So he would be relative to these planet buster people. Yeah, so next up, I'll say Orgalord. Yeah. I'll say he's above them because Orgalord, I think he was known as the Destroyer of Worlds. And that's what he did. He did it a lot, apparently, to get that name. So it's like you would think the Guardians would go after him. And they probably did in the past, but he never got captured. That tells me and anybody with a brain that he would be above them because they probably tried and failed, and that's it. The only person that could take him down was Glob. Actually, let me get to Glob. Where is Glob? There goes Glob. Let me take this version. I think this is the good version. There might be another picture of like, I think it's like a sword, or maybe this picture is better actually. This shows more of him. I don't know why they have multiple pictures like that. It's so weird. Anyway, so Glob would be like same level as Orgalord, who would be above the Citadel Guardian. So the Citadel Guardian would not be able to capture Glob as well. So there we go. Okay, so next I guess it'll be Magic Man. It's kind of implied he's a little bit stronger than Glob because like Glob had to like nullify Magic Man's power before even going near him. You can just say that's just so Magic Man can escape, because you would think if Magic Man could just fight Glob, he would have just done so. That way he wouldn't have to run away from them. But I would say they are around the same level in power, and Magic Man is just OP. And if he didn't lose his power by the finale of the show would have been different. The finale would have definitely been shorter. But yeah, I'd say prime Magic Man with all his power is like around here for now. Oh, and one thing, if you want to say like whenever Jake goes into like his little blue form, you could say he's like A tier. I don't know if he would beat up on Billy or the Gumball Guardians, or maybe he got beat up by these guys. So if you wanna wank this, you could say like this, right? Because he tried to jump this thing and then it got clobbered, and Jake got clobbered. So like, and then above Fern, you know, I don't know. Again, Fern is it's already weird Fern being here anyway, because we don't know. We didn't see his full power against these guys, so maybe he would have beat them up. But for now, in terms of what we've seen on screen, we'll say like here, I guess. But really, we can say like this. Whatever. Let's say something like this, because Jake beating Fern is a little weird. Okay, next up for tier S would be Marcini's dad, or Hunting Abadir. Now here's the thing, he's like this like immortal being, can't die, whatever. Now people say like Finn like might scale to him and whatnot, because Finn is weird because he used like his old raggedy golden sword that he had from like season 1, and he stabbed Hunson while he was in monster form. Now the thing is about Hunson at that point is that he hadn't absorbed enough souls. He was like getting larger the more souls he sucked in, right? So you can argue he was not a full power or potential power, right? So that's why Finn was able to harm him, and while he was distracted by talking to Marceline, that Finn was able to get the jump on him and banish him to like the I forgot what they call that, the Never Sphere, No Sphere, whatever. So at full potential, like with all the souls sucked in from U or whatever, yeah, he would be like planet level, and he'll probably beat up on these guys and whatnot. Now you could say like that's like guessing, that's headcanon, but I mean, it was stated multiple times that he was going to destroy U. And there's also a statement of like where he considered Orgalord he's like equal. Now the reason I don't think so is because in that statement he actually says that they were equal in, like, you could say that they're equal in evilness, not necessarily power. Because when he was talking to Gunther, he was like, you're the most evil person I've ever seen, or something like that, or whatever. And you know, he wasn't really talking about power. He didn't really say he didn't use the word power, as far as I know. And it'll be kind of weird to assume that they're talking about power when he was just talking about level of evilness, which he respects. So if I had to say, full power Hunson, all the souls from U sucked in, whatever, he would be like around this level. Okay, now the Lich is above Hunson. Now this is a weird one, because Hudson has a statement where he's like, oh, I would ragdoll on the Lich because the Lich got beat up by Finn the Human, and like basically Hudson was trying to power scale, and he was like, oh, the Lich needed an army of the undead just to like try and take over Ooh and whatnot. Here's the thing, once again, like I said earlier, did I say earlier? I'm not too sure. Finn only beat the Lich, right, with the power of love, right, when he has a sweater and whatnot. So basically, he nullified the Lich's powers, and that's why Finn didn't get mind controlled, and he was able to use the symbol of power, which was the sweater he got from PB, and use that to beat up the Lich, right? And Hudson is trying to power scale like a 4th grader, and be like, oh, well, that means I would be above him because he got beat up by a human. Straight up false. He didn't know the circumstances. Lich at full power would utterly destroy everybody here. Now, he would be... No, he would be relative to the people in S tier. I don't know about... Finn is an odd one. He might be like the weakest. He's definitely the weakest of the bunch. But like the Citadel Guardians, Orgalorg, you know, people might say, oh, I mean, you know, he got captured by the Guardians and whatnot, but he easily got out of their like little pink ice power thing. And you know, it's hard to say because, you know, he needed an army to take them down. But at the same time, again, Lich was not at full power. He was using dead old man Billy as a vessel. So I don't know. Billy, like, Lich at full power, I don't know. We never really seen that. All we know is that he would destroy Ooh, most likely the world, and everybody was afraid of him. Now, the cosmic beings and whatnot being afraid of him could most likely just be due to hacks. So we don't, like, I'm not gonna say, oh, Lich is like universal power because like the other cosmic beings are afraid of him, and it's just weird. There's also this weird cosmic imagination meta where you're like, oh, Ice King or the princesses or anybody with a crown or anybody with the Ankyridian would be like universal level if they just use their imagination correctly, or some weird stuff like that. And you know, and actually I'll get to more of that in a second. And hold on, let me just put the other people in the tier list. Okay, so Def. Here's the thing. I think Def mentioned one time that he did not that he people are under the impression that the Def was afraid of the Lich. Now all the Def, I'm pretty sure what Def said was that he just didn't want him in the dead worlds because Lich would just be a problem, and you know, he just doesn't like the Lich. It doesn't necessarily mean, oh, he's afraid of him, he'll kill him. And you know, and maybe he might get mind hacked by the Lich. It's possible, I don't know. But in terms of pure power, I say for now Def has it going, definitely. No, full power Def is a full power Lich. That's a weird one. I'll say, in my opinion, Def would be above the Lich. Okay, so on to the final tier. Tier S+. This is the Comets. Now, the Comets, they are like universal power, right? If you absorb them, you'll gain power on a universal scale, be able to destroy the universe, do whatever you want. Finn's dad did the same. He ended up taking like a deal with the Comet and then became this universal being, and I don't know, he kind of just fucked off. He never saw him ever again. Finn could have taken the deal with the Comet, and so full potential Finn could be like this, right? Universal level, whatever. But he did not, and he stayed in B tier. And right now, I'll say these comments are like, I'm not gonna say, oh, they crash into the earth, the universe blows up. No, that's not what I mean. I'm just meaning in terms of power that you could get from the Comet, it would be universal level. Next up, say Cosmic Owl. He has like stars and galaxies in him, and he's always hanging out with the other cosmic beings, and he's, I mean, just, he would be above everything else. I mean, he's not really, we don't really see him do much. He's usually hanging out with, and I'm about to put him right now. Where is he? Prismo. I did not grab him. Prismo. I say Owl is like universal. Maybe universal plus, whatever. Prismo is straight up multiversal. He controls everything on a multiversal scale. He can casually curate entire timelines, universes and whatnot, just for fun's sake if he wanted to or whatever. He usually have like Finn and Jake like do stuff for him or whatever, either just for fun or because he just doesn't want to step in, or there's just some rules that he just don't want to break. Now, who would be more powerful than Prismo? Well, let's go with the ultimate embodiment of chaos itself. Gold. Now, here's the thing about Gold. He, like, him and Betty like fused, and they made like this thing. And basically, I think it was like implied in the finale that Simon tried to go like wish for Betty back or something, and Prismo couldn't do it. He shook his shoulders and was like, nah, I don't know what to do. I can't do anything. So I'll say Golb is like above Prismo, but it's just like Golb is a weird one. I mean, we don't know. He could be just universal, and his chaos magic maybe just counters Prismo's or something like that, or maybe you might say something like fused Betty is above regular Golb, but that's weird because it's just like, it's not like it's Goku and Vegeta when they fuse, where they like Vegeta's power is a really great addition to Goku's power because they're like around, you know, the relative or whatnot, certain parts of the story and whatnot. Point is, Betty is just a regular ass human. Why would she be any addition and be an important factor at all to Golb's power? All she does was give the guy more of a conscience and basically just be like, alright, let me just get Golb out of here, basically. So it's like, I still say, for now, Golb above Prismo. You can go either way. Now, I know a lot of this list is my opinion, and I'm always saying, oh, you know, you can switch stuff around and whatnot, and maybe you're not satisfied by that, but I would say Golb is above Prismo. You can say Prismo is above Golb, but I'm gonna go with Golb, in my opinion. There's only one more person that would even do anything. That'd be Prismo's boss. You never seen his boss before. He was mentioned only once in the entire series. Prismo did not want to cross him. Prismo's boss gave Prismo an order, and Prismo did not want to break it. He seemed afraid of the boss. So, and if somebody could boss around Prismo like that, he would most likely beat up Golb as well. Since right now we don't even know for sure, 100% for certainty, if Golb can't take down Prismo. So for now, it's pretty clear Prismo's boss is above Golb. And that's about it. I mean, I think some people say Golb is Prismo's boss, but that's weird. I wouldn't. That's headcanon. I don't know. Right now, whatever this entity is, this is the most powerful thing in the entire Adventure Time verse. And that's about it. The rest of the characters, I don't really care for. They're whatever. Some of them are just like Fiona and like Cake. They're like basically just copies of Finn and Jake. They'll just be equal or whatever. Also, here's the thing about Finn. I'd say the reason Finn is like town level and like he's weirdly strong for a human and whatnot is not only because he's like in a reincarnation and he's the embodiment of heroism and whatnot and what is good. He's basically, it was stated by the author, by the creator, that Finn is like a mutated human who's slightly mutated, and that's why his eyes are like dots or whatever. Now, it's kind of retconned later about the eyes detail, because later on it was in a certain episode, they zoom in on his eyes and it shows Finn with colors and whatnot. In his eyes, I mean. Now, that doesn't mean the entire concept that Finn is mutated is retconned. It makes sense that he's mutated with radiation and whatnot. So that would explain why Finn is able to like hurt a robot the size of a city and whatnot, and he's even stood a chance against fighting these big giant beasts and cosmic beings and whatnot. And it took me a while to find this statement. It was like I had to go through like a Wayback Machine, go back all the way to 2010 and pull this thing out. So If you want an explanation why Finn is the way he is, he's mutated, also a reincarnation of goodness itself. So there you go. Just wanted to put that in there. And that is going to be the Adventure Time tier list. Tell me what you think. If you want to like change this up yourself and whatnot, feel free to go ahead. If you want to scream at me in the comments saying, Fern is planet level, what are you doing? He would one-shot the Lich. It's like, whatever, man. I don't think so. But, you know, if you want to argue with me, whatever, go ahead. But this is it. At least I hope you at least found this interesting. Got some cool ideas from this video. If you did, maybe leave a like. Maybe subscribe if you want to. I'm going to be doing more cartoons and not like anime or whatnot. And what would be my next video is probably going to be a Young Justice tier list. No, like, yeah, Young Justice tier list, but instead of the main cast, it's gonna be like some many other characters, like the Justice League and the villains and whatnot. So anyway, hope you stay tuned for that, and I'll see you next time.